Hi, I'm Pumla Schmidt. I'm one of the cloud advocates here at Microsoft. You might also know me as Exchange Goddess on Twitter. When I'm out and about and online, I get asked all sorts of questions. One of them, actually a few of them, happen to be the same ones repeatedly over and over. And it is, what can I do to learn more about Azure? And also, what can I do to build my skills to stay relevant in the industry? And how did you get where you're at? So first off, kudos to everyone that asked me questions about how to build their skill sets and expand their career and their knowledge set, because I'm a huge advocate of learning and empowering oneself and not waiting for your employer to send you the training, because sometimes that just doesn't happen. You own your career, so own it. Do what you need to do to learn the skills and the technology that you want to learn. Continuing to grow yourself. Awesome. So you're probably asking me, how do I answer these questions when everyone asks, where can I go to learn more, about Azure, and I want to, learn more about different technologies. So when I get asked these questions, I tell them two things. The internet has a wealth of information, good and bad, and then having a lab. I know when I was starting out my career, a lab was essential for me. I used the lab for everything. Since work really didn't provide a good lab environment, a good playground for me to break things, I would go home. I had a small little lab set up, and I only used a laptop. And I spun up VMs. I practiced PowerShell scripting that way. I actually built Exchange servers within my laptop VM. It was great because it empowered me to learn more. And then the internet. There's so many things that you can learn off the internet. There's YouTube, but there's also free online learning courses, and there's webinars. For instance, Microsoft, we just launched Microsoft Learn. It is a free online learning portal. I'm telling you, free. And you can learn about anything. So there's Azure Fundamentals, there's DevOps, there's machine learning, which I don't know much about. And trust me, I'm going to be taking that. Because I definitely want to prevent Skynet. So, with Microsoft Learn, you go through these modules, and it's just like one of those online learning courses that you take through the unnamed learning centers, and you go through modules, and you have these tasks, and they give you this sandbox environment in Azure to basically complete those tasks. And when you complete the modules, that sandbox environment, which is entirely free, gets wiped clean. And then you move on to the next module in that learning path. And then when you're done, you have an idea of what you wanted to learn. I mean, you learn, the fundamentals of, let's say, building a VM. And then you could build upon that knowledge that you just got from Microsoft Learn, or let's say you didn't take Microsoft Learn and you did some other training course, you use it in your lab. And you're probably thinking, oh, I need some equipment at home. No. It's 2018. Azure Free, the cloud. You can create an Azure Free account and make that your lab. This can be your playground. Let's say you're already familiar with Azure and you want to try out new features, you can do it there. And if you're not familiar with Azure and you want to, learn more about Azure or just how the cloud works, and you want to keep expanding your skill set, and let's say you want to move up in your career and there's potential jobs out there that, that you want to get hired for, but you haven't had the experience. Azure Free is a great place to learn those skills. So we can take a look here. This is an Azure Free account that, I've set up. And as you can see, it is Azure. I mean, you can do everything that an enterprise has. You can create resource groups, which you're going to need to do. Once you go through Azure, the Microsoft Learn, you'll know all about resource groups. You actually need to create resource groups for your networking. You can spin up VMs, and if you go, this is the dashboard. This is basically your central landing page. But if you go to the marketplace, and let's say you can spin up different VMs. Let's say you want to try open source out. You want to experiment with Linux, and you're a Windows person. Spin up a VM. You can do that in Azure Free. You can spin up a WordPress site. You can do anything, all within this free lab there's machine learning, there's different functions. And you know what? Let's say you want to try out a new feature that we just announced, such as passwordless authentication. I mean, that's a pretty neat feature. Who hates passwords? You can actually do this. If you go to Azure Active Directory, you can enable a free trial of Azure AD Premium, which you'll need to enable the passwordless authentication. Gosh, that's a tongue twister. And you can start testing out how to configure this. We do have documentation out on docs.com that will walk you through on how to create a passwordless authentication. And you can, try it out, see how it works. And if it works for you and you like it, go back to work and say, I tried this passwordless authentication. This is a neat thing. We should try it. And could take a look here. There's virtual machines. This is where you would create virtual machines. First, you would start off in the marketplace. And you would go to compute. And you can pick from a selection of Windows Server. There's Linux. There's all sorts of flavors. And the marketplace is where those images are. But as you can see here, you've got a whole slew of different types of technologies that you can run. And this can all be a lab just for you. And you are not utilizing anyone else's, production environment at work. So I encourage you, try it out.